Thank you, everyone, for attending this pre-meeting. And all present would and has some urgent event to attend. He will be back before the regular meeting. So I'll host this meeting. We don't have any old business, new business, and let's review February 18th regular meeting agenda.
All right, we made it to 2 pages, just barely. You'll see at the bottom, there are 3 additional motions regarding the cab and chassis that we had discussed at the work session. We talked about accessible playground structures before. I can't remember if that was really at the work session or otherwise, but it looks like they've been found through CoStars. For our newer members online, we have the ability under intergovernmental cooperation to, instead of putting out something for bid, if it's over $22,000 right now, adjusted for inflation, for other types of contracts, we need to put it out for bids, advertise twice 2 successive weeks for equipment, supplies, construction. Unless we take advantage of essentially piggyback or other joint purchasing. CoStars is the big one you'll hear about. It is the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's program. They love it because they get funds from people signing up. So when you go to ALOM, there'll likely be a CoStars presentation, so you can listen into it. They have expanded it over the last several years. You used to just buy supplies, toilet paper in bulk or something from the state contract. They have amended the law since then. You can now get construction services as well as materials. It was a bit different from as it was originally. I don't know, Zach, anything to add about our accessible playground structure?
This will replace the old, like 35-year-old, I think, playground, mostly upper body in what I call the lower blueberry patch across the part away from the entering gates. We'll now have more, it'll make it very much a destination playground more than it already is, and we'll have more accessible features for people in wheelchairs, people who have limited maneuverability. So it's going to attract even more and a greater expanse of the people we see. So it's going to be a very big project for us because what's down there now is not accessible at all. Like I said, it's a very much just an upper body kind of playground that's down there. So it'll also address a number of safety failures we have currently in that playground, just due to its age, wear to things like that. So bring us
failures, safety challenges.
Challenges. Things that have been updated as far as what's good to have in a playground and what's considered the new way of play within a playground. So yes, it'll be a great addition for our park.
Does that include construction services or is Public Works parks?
The only thing this does not include will be our scraping of materials out and adding drainage, because we do not have drainage in that part of the playground. So it is pretty much everything we need.
And partially funded by me.
All right.
So this will affect the use of the playground, right?
Yes, we will have to, we're going to have to see what we can still keep open while we're doing. It may be a complete shutdown. We're hoping to keep, since the door is towards the upper half, we're hoping that maybe we can shut down, bring all the materials and everything in, and then gate off the lower end and work over there as we keep the newer side and sandbox open. That's the hope. We're not really going to know until obviously everything starts landing and we see how much room we need.
If we have any update information, we should.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, because this program has been used heavily by parents and a lot of kids, parents and for their, so, okay, that sounds good.
Okay, now, we had motion 3, which is on Deerfield Estates, the work session, talked about that sidewalk that's supposed to connect to Taylor Ridge. Tim, if you had any verbal update or how things went with that discussion?
I contacted the engineer and I contacted the developer and recommended highly that they pick that one. Engineering first, so we can see what they're doing. And then obviously installation. Their plan is or was finish that up this summer because they really phase one, so it's our phase one. We're really looking forward to that because we don't want any accidents on the bridge.
But do they have like a kind of like solid plan and to,
Well, right now, they don't have anything, but all that they know is they have to connect it, you know, there wasn't any engineering on either side of the development, either in Deerfield or in Taylor Ridge. Because it was just a drainage swale down through there and it's a chain link, so, you know, they couldn't do that, it was worded and that was their intent to leave it like that, so pretty much gonna have to be wherever they think that they can, you know, keep a solid bottom to it and connect up with the other one. I don't think we're gonna be able to connect it up. I know the sidewalk goes around and stops at the end of their property. But that connection just will drop off and there's really no good way to do that, so. The intent was for them to pick up the sidewalk a little further into the plan. A little deeper into the intersection there, and take it down to connect to Taylor Ridge. Because that sidewalk.
So to today's point, we cannot connect approval of this to good faith effort on the sidewalk.
Right, these are different phases, I believe just changing one little thing, not touching the sidewalk. They sometimes send somebody here, have questions, and because it is a minor subdivision, Tim, Steph, do you have a action date? 90 days?
Yeah,
From-
it's on my staff report, those, then one.
what's the date?
Be in the staff report on the completion at the bottom there.
Staff report was January 29th. Right.
April 9th.
There we go. So, yeah, getting it to April was a little tough. You would need an extension, but table it until next month if you so want, and still be on time. But if they've already had the discussion and the talk, if they're out there, you might want to let them hear it again.
Yeah, I'm.
This flag walks back to that.
No, actually, it's a driveway access that these lots front on Nicholson Road.
Okay.
But they're not gonna be able to get a curb cut there for driveway access on the same stations.
Okay.
There's no site distance.
So then what's the access point then? And
It'll be our back homes,
um,
they'll share driveway.
okay.
So if we table it for 1 month and will it help with the situation, like to let the developer know that we're not so happy with that they, you know,
I've
current.
already been aware of that, made aware of that, and I told them they would probably pay this month.
Okay,
So, you know, I don't think they're gonna be shocked. And they
So-
understand, they are under the understanding that we're expecting this to be moved on quickly.
okay.
So, I mean, sorry to tell you, I doubt they'll be out there because it's a minor subdivision, but I doubt they'll be out there tonight.
So is there anything else that we can do to to help this, in future or this is, no, is there anything else?
Well, I mean, these things are bonded, there's no punch list as far as when things come off for developers, we have to do them by. Other than their time limits, in other words, when you sign into an agreement, they agree to do it within this amount of days, or this amount of months, or, whatever, and then, usually they can't make it by then because they have to, things just don't develop that fast.
You might be, I mean, if this really just shows on the plan and a certain linear feet for, the sidewalk, and as part of their bonded amount, they just kind of included that, and we look at it and say, it's okay, if there's additional grading work, retaining walls or something like that, I mean, that's one time that you could catch them and say, no, we can't certify this cost because you can't show that you can go there, and
Well, that,
it should be 2 times as much as your.
that might be a good point, and I can tell you there's no engineering on that, because, the only thing showing that connection needed to be done was a note on the plan.
Mhm.
So there was no details on how to do that, so if we're at a point where we're gonna make them revise something, most times do
And
that.
you can, I mean, we've done the 10% increase just sort of out of it, but the MPC does say you can have them recalculate the extent there,
So,
or do
so
it at
actually,
10%.
that portion of the sidewalk is probably, there's probably no dollar amount for that, because they didn't have any way to go about assuming those costs.
But that's, well, to see when they get their next letter, when they're up for phase 1, they're trying to get done. I mean, that might force the issue. If they don't get it done, they think, oh, we'll just do that later because it's sidewalk. Perhaps that becomes a. Is it, coming up?
So, yeah, I mean, we can tell them at that point, listen, all married together for the law.
Street like steps up for Pittsburgh streets.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll be glad to put steps in. But you're not working
An
for a baby
escalator.
stroller, but
In the zoo.
Okay, so exactly, and probably, and
July.
yeah, we can table it and we'll see what will happen.
Just add briefly from a security perspective, there's a lot of concrete, even if it wasn't that food, there's a lot of money still held left. 90,000 or so in the bond, so we haven't, even though it may not be specifically accounted for, it hasn't been overreached yet, we still have maneuverability.
Sounds good.
I think that's about it. There's any question, everything else was discussed at the work session.
Nothing else, and we can go to the minutes report, this discussion items.
Yeah, our trash contract with Waste Management will expire this year. So we will need to, start getting prepared, our specs, for bid. Last time we went through this process, we tried to put it out in June, I believe, of the year before. I started working on it a little early, because I know I'm gonna be out for a little bit. Also met with Waste Management to talk about, what they're kind of looking for as clients now. And everything is going automated, so can only, they're not bidding total trash pickup like we have now. And so, to have the most competitive rates for our residents, we're likely going to have to move to that format of trash removal, or pay some serious financial consequences. We already do it now with recycling, so it would just be the inclusion of, trash as well. That's kind of just an update. I didn't know if council had any ideas, if. I assume that everyone kind of sees the writing on the wall that this is coming. It kind of already, it spread to other communities around us. And so I don't see a whole lot of, secondary options other than, moving to this platform.
Zach, is gonna be the 3 can deal where they have like the landscaping material and recycling and then.
I believe two, so one for recycling and one for regular trash. Around 90 gallon for regular trash and 65 for recycling. I don't know what I'm thinking.
That's enough. So right now, I can't remember, we pay like 74, right? 70 something.
I don't know what it is offhand. I can't. What's up? Is that forward?
75, right? Okay.
I mean, regardless, it's gonna go up no matter what we do. It's just how much are we gonna kind of limit the bleeding?
What are our options there? We don't know the options are yet.
For pricing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we do a bid, but in order to have the most competitive bids to keep our numbers down, you know, we are almost forced to go to, you know, automated bid pickup.
Mhm.
And I assume, because I had that kind of service back when I lived in Pine. Excuse me, I assume for any kind of access, they would have like a tag program or something you have to buy.
Yeah, so it'll still, I mean, we'll spec out the bid package how we want it, but likely, right now you have large pickup, which I believe is every week. We go to one time a month, per household, which would be rotate, throughout the community, per week, for those crews. We'd still have a senior discount we'd be requesting for bid. We just kind of go from there.
Orange pickup mean like a piece of.
Right, yeah. Right now we offer it weekly, instead it would be monthly.
Do some math on what not three can work on metric people.
Yeah. And then all the bids would be supplied, you know, whoever.
So do we know and how much like for even like our and township and then how much they pay for that today?
I can figure out information
How
on
much
the
or?
people around us.
Uh-huh.
I know from conversations, it varies between, I think I saw was the lowest, like 62, 63, a quarter, up to like 120 a quarter. Depends on how your bid goes, and how competitive it is, so.
Waste management through the cog bid and it went way up.
Yeah.
That was the last one, the automated.
I think if I remember correctly, you know, this has been since 2020, so I'm sure things have changed, but whenever I used to be in Klein, that was all Borough, where they had the three bins, there was the yard waste, the recycling, and the trash on it, so that was around 9 to 4.
And the canvas says,
But we'll still bid out to have our, big pickups, everything else that we are pretty standard practice. It would just be switching to an automated pickup,
Recycling?
and it's here.
We do a first time.
Got one?
It's commingled.
What was that?
So I'm pretty sure the last time I wrote, you can put pretty much everything back in.
Yeah.
We can? Yes.
There you go.
Another take.
Yeah. It's fine to pick up with them.
Recycled glass here is much cleaner and we get a greater credit and a larger grant. Because of it.
At 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock.
Yeah, you can sit in here if you like.
Okay. I did see on what social media site it was, or whatever, that there was a lot of complaints by residents who live on Brant School Road about waste management and how they were throwing their bins into the street. And it's more of a safety obstacle than, worse than deer crossing Brant School Road, and not happy with waste management. And some of the comments were, we'll just call the borough, and we'll take care of it.
yeah.
Which is true.
It's interesting.
Always, man.
They're absolutely fantastic in my neighborhood.
Last time we looked at the automated arm, we had, I can't even remember it. It was like the third rail of politics for about a year. But we had the bins here that like if people were interested and wanted to move. Yeah.
Yes, they brought us the different sizes.
Yeah, so they can see in person.
Yes.
To come to.
But I know, like, for me, as part of the management, the cog, you just got delivered with what the call called for. If you wanted to upsize or downsize, that was on you. If you wanted bigger, we had to pay more. So it all depends.
Borough building, get trash.
Oh,
Yeah.
Once I start getting into updating the bid specs, I'll get it out to everybody to review. See if there's anything else that anybody is interested in.
I realize we may have like limited negotiating power, but as a consumer, it seems strange that in order to get a response from a company that I pay money to, I have to call the borough. That there seems like they're outsourcing their customer service to the borough.
So I've addressed that with our municipal rep through them.
Okay.
Twice now. Specifically, they've had a lot of issues with, like replacing cans. So the ones that we have now are old and outdated. And so originally there was a backlog of a couple hundred in our area. And so whenever you reach out to them for, service tiers, it's an automated response to the date. Well, the backlog is so long that they can't fulfill this, right? And so because there's a lack of communication with a person who's scheduling, they set these arbitrary dates and all comes because, on their list, it's way down. They were able to get caught back up. And then we recently had the same issue again here in the last couple of weeks. And it's this supply chain issues with getting new bins. And so now they've gone back in store and they're back to the bins. But the complication is the communication with us, then let the residents know what's been, and to respond to them, who, the residents who are paying.
Agreed. It shouldn't be that they have to go through the borough.
And
to
it's
get
a
anything.
big administrative to do for our staff.
Right.
To be hunting that down constantly, and we're getting 4 or 5 calls a day about it. And so, that's why we met with them to try to address some of those problems.
We should not be outsourced. They're
Right.
customer service.
Okay. That's it, right? So report on the council matter. So let's start with Brian.
I'm good today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't really have a report, but I do have a comment, a shout out. There was a tragic, sad situation that occurred over the weekend. Personal to me and my family, and friends of ours, and the police department and EMS and all first responders acted with compassion and much professionalism, and I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
I met earlier with Chief Bell, the Mechanical Franklin Park Ambulance Authority, who got the full tour and he was showing me some of the equipment and everything, so that was a really good experience. And
I went through it, yeah.
he's a very good individual and he's got a very good team around him, so it's a pleasure to do that.
Yeah, I also don't have much to talk. So, we can wrap up the meeting right now, and then let's start the executive session.
Okay.